Good evening, and thanks for tuning in today. Today we have an expert on RedBird, Maureen. How are you doing today?
Very well.
Can you tell us a little about who RedBird was?
RedBird was a Native American author, musician, teacher, and activist.
And what's a little bit about her background, just so our viewers can get to know her?
Well, she was born the oldest of 3 children on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. She did go away to a Quaker boarding school. That's where she learned to love music and wanted to be a teacher. She also attended college to become a teacher, also in Indiana.
Very interesting. Where and when did she live?
Well, she was born in 1876, and her life spanned the turn of the century. As I said, she was born in South Dakota. She lived in Indiana at school. She taught and lived in Pennsylvania, and then also traveled with her husband to Utah to work with Ute people, and then eventually, at the end of her life, lived in Washington, D.C.
Wow, she was really all over the place. What made her famous?
Well, she wrote about inequality, particularly for women and women's rights, suffrage, and also for the rights of Native Americans. She found that the inequality that existed was unacceptable and worked to forward Native American rights. In particular, her writing made a difference. It helped to bring the management of Indian lands back into the hands of Native Americans.
Is that what she was most notable for?
Particularly, yes. But she also was a person who saw herself as a link between Native Americans and the wider culture. She broke barriers for Native Americans. She was the first musician to play for the U.S. sitting president. She also co-authored the first opera ever to be based on Native American melodies. She also published autobiographical stories about her own life and collected Native American legends and put them into English.
Very interesting. Well, one thing our viewers love to know is just one fun fact about the people that we bring in. So could you tell us about those?
Oh, absolutely. As a musician, when she was teaching at Carlisle, she was with a group, and together they went over to the Paris Exposition, where she played as a solo violinist. Yeah, she was a very interesting person and lived a great life.
Well, thank you for tuning in today.
Oh, thank you for having me.